Hey there everybody, it's me Cody from OnMicrosoft.com, where today we're going to be unboxing and taking a quick look at the new Surface Book 3 from Microsoft here. This is the 13.5-inch model in the i7 16GB, 256GB configuration that's going to be replacing my old Surface Book 2, which I've had for the better part of the last 2 years or so, just over that. This Surface Book 3, as I said, is the 13-inch model, which, similar to last generation, the Surface Book 2, also comes with an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 inside of it to replace the 1050, which was in the previous generation. Along with the upgraded graphics card, there's also now an Intel 10th generation i7-1065G7 CPU, which puts the Surface Book 3 on par with the Surface Pro 7, which I reviewed and took a look at earlier this year. The difference, of course, in the Surface Book 3 is that the CPU in the tablet portion of the device does not have a fan, unlike the Surface Pro 7, so we're eventually going to be taking a look at the performance of this new CPU and how that fanless design affects that, which I imagine might be somewhat substantial, like the 8650U in the i7 Surface Book 2 figured with its similar fanless design. Apart from that, the Surface Book 3 isn't really that much different design-wise from the Surface Book 2, of course, with the spec bumps that I mentioned before. And the only real noticeable thing that you will find that differentiates this Surface Book 3 from the Surface Book 2 is the studio mics that are on the tablet portion of the display, which are spaced on either side of the camera. But other than that, it is pretty much identical from what I'm seeing here, although I do notice that there are now a couple of little bumps on the F4 and F8 keys, probably to help people with accessibility needs finding the keyboard keys that they want to use, and yeah, that looks about everything that's different. I'm pretty familiar with the Surface Book 2 myself, having owned it for so long. But yeah, it is just a pristine device as is. Alright, so now if we go ahead and focus our attention to what is inside of the box, you get all the exact same stuff that you find in any other Surface box these days, that being the warranty information as well as other documentation in this little pamphlet here. You get the standard 1-year manufacturer warranty since the purchase date, which covers things like manufacturing defects but not accidental damage, and you get the power adapter in this large box right here. The Surface Book 3 comes with the same exact power adapter that came with the Surface Book 2, that being the 102-watt charger with the Surface Connect cable. One thing that I do, of course, love about the Surface chargers is of course, the magnetic design, which attaches here. And the power brick also has a USB port on it, which can be used for charging things like your phone, which is really convenient. You don't have to bring around several bricks for your devices. This one will handle anything else that needs a USB charging. Of course, if you have the 15-inch model of the Surface Book 3, the 15-inch model comes with a larger power brick than the 13-inch model, now with I think it's a 127-watt charger with the 15-inch model. Previously on the Surface Book 2, the 15-inch version of the Surface Book 2 came with the same 102-watt charger as the 13-inch, which retrospectively didn't really make much sense, considering obviously a larger laptop will need more power. But it's good to know that Microsoft has fixed that with this generation of Surface Book 3. Of course, the fit and finish of the Surface Book 3 is exactly the same as Surface Book 2. Very well made, very smooth, very good out of the factory, and the opening the screen, as usual, you can be done with one finger. Really nicely open this up. And I've already gotten this set up through the Windows setup and signed in with my Microsoft account and everything. So on the screen quality, while we're at that, and while we have the Surface Book 2 right here, we can actually take a little bit of a comparison to the display qualities on both of these machines, which I have propped up with the same wallpapers, just so you can get a good idea of what I'm talking about, although it maybe not be too visible on camera. the displays on the Surface Book 2 and Surface Book 3 technically both have the exact same specs, you know, the same 3000 by 2000 aspect ratio, the same excellent contrast, excellent color, the same refresh rate. However, the Surface Book 3's display seems to have a slightly different color calibration that Microsoft claims they do at the factory now, which gives the Surface Book 3 a slightly warmer looking image than the Surface Book 2. And personally, I prefer the way that the Surface Book 2's display looked, but I guess the display on the Surface Book 3 does more closely resemble the image on, say, the Surface Pro 7 with its slightly warmer tint, which I guess is more closely calibrated for things like office environments and, you know, reduced blue light and all that kind of stuff. But it is a slight difference. You get the same brightness, the same color accuracy and all that good stuff. So it is still an excellent display, but it does have a slight difference. Another thing we can compare is, of course, one of the things Microsoft advertises with the Surface Book 3 is that they say the detach mechanism is much quicker than previously. So let's go ahead and press those detach buttons. See how long it takes. Yep, right away the Surface Book 3 is ready to detach, while the Surface Book 2, just let me detach right there. You could see the screen like walk back really quickly. Let's try that one more time. From what it seemed, that was about twice as fast, which is what advertised for the Surface Book 3 for the detach. Once I am sure that they're all attached and all good, I'll let them sit for a moment. Okay, equalize. 3, 2, 1. Yep. And there that guy goes. Yeah, so it is definitely a faster detach mechanism on the Surface Book 3. Another thing that I see that people ask quite often is, if I have a Surface Book 2, can I take the screen of the Surface Book 2 and upgrade it with the base of the Surface Book 3? Is that possible? And the answer to that question is no. You see, with the Surface Books, when you attach the screen onto the base, there is several mechanisms that go into place to help keep it attached to the base. You know, there's, of course, these pegs which hold it and guide you in there. There's a locking mechanism inside which clamps the screen shut. It locks it to the base. And there's also magnets which sort of help guide the screen into the base. So you can actually feel the screen getting sucked in, essentially, to the base because those magnets are pulling it into where it wants to be. However, if you take the Surface Book 2 screen to the Surface Book 3, or vice versa, so the wrong screen to the wrong base, the magnets inside are actually flipped between the two generations. So if you try to get the screen of the Surface Book 2 and enter it near the base of the Surface Book 3, you can actually feel those magnets like repelling the screen. Like, you can't really see that well on camera, but you can really feel it. It doesn't want you to put the screen on the wrong base. It's like, it's really fighting you on that. And if you like manage to force the screen onto those pegs against its will, which you can do if you press hard enough and sort of guide it in there, don't do this because the screen will get jammed on the base. The screen will get jammed on the base, and you will have to forcefully rip the screen off of the base like you're destroying a regular laptop. And it is not a good feeling. Because it feels like you're going to break it. And no, even if you do force it on there, it will not detect the base. So it will not work. Don't attempt to do this. You could potentially damage your device, and it is just not a very fun feeling in general. So no, you can't flip-flop the bases between the Surface Books, between different generations, which is, I guess, unfortunate, but that's just the way things are. So let's go ahead and hop into Task Manager really quickly here so we can take a look at the performance and the specs inside this machine more directly. So as we expect, under the CPU section, we have the Intel Core i7-1065G7 CPU, same as in the Surface Pro 7 that we looked at before, the 10th generation 10 nanometer chips that are in a lot of modern laptops these days. The difference, of course, between the Surface Book 3 and the Surface Pro 7 is that the Surface Pro 7 has a fan on that CPU, whereas the Surface Book 3 is actually a fanless PC. There is no fan cooling that processor. So the good thing about that is, obviously, it's going to run silently. But the bad thing is that that CPU is going to get quite warm because it can't cool itself effectively. So I imagine we're probably going to see some thermal throttling with this CPU like we did on the Surface Book 2, which is unfortunate, but I'll have to do some tests to see how severe that actually is in real-world use scenarios. The next thing we have here is the memory tab, which we'll actually see, thankfully, the Surface Book 3, the entry-level GPU tier of the Surface Book 3 now ships with 16 gigabytes of RAM, whereas the Surface Book 2 on that same tier shipped with only 8 gigabytes of RAM. So you're doubling the RAM on the tier this year for the Surface Book 3, which is excellent. And that same thing also holds true for the NVIDIA graphics card in the base. The GTX 1050 in the Surface Book 2 had 2 gigabytes of dedicated video memory, whereas the GTX 1650 with Max-Q design in the Surface Book 3 now has twice that with 4 gigabytes of dedicated video memory. So across the board, twice as much RAM, twice as much video memory on the Surface Book 3, which is excellent. Speaking of the NVIDIA GTX 1650 with Max-Q design, it's basically the same thing as the desktop class GTX 1650, well, very similar, I should say, although the Max-Q design implies that the graphics card has quite a few optimizations made to improve the experience for laptops, including things like reduced power usage, reduced temperatures, and quieter fan noises, so it sort of detects and is configured, it's optimized to run at settings which will give you a good experience on laptops without forcefully running as much power as it possibly can draw, which is something that's, I guess, okay for a desktop PC to do since it's plugged into the wall, but this should improve the experience for laptops. The Surface Book 2 with its GTX 1050, when you really push the graphics card, this machine could get quite loud. Supposedly, the Max-Q GPUs are optimized not to push themselves that hard unless they really need to, but we'll take a look into that in our final review in the future. Another thing that I think is really important to look at here is the integrated graphics on the Surface Book 3. The Surface Book 3, with its 10th generation 1065 G7 CPU, now comes with Intel Iris Plus graphics, the same Iris Plus graphics, again, that we saw in the Surface Pro 7, which will definitely give the Surface Book 3 a huge boost in everyday graphical performance compared to the Surface Book 2, which had just the Intel UHD graphics 620, which sometimes struggled to render, basic content like Windows animations and basic graphics applications, things that don't use the more powerful GTX graphics card. The Surface Book 3 will definitely handle everyday graphical tasks much better with its Iris Plus graphics integrated into the Intel chip, which is excellent. So if you found this video helpful, would like to know more about my thoughts while using this Surface Book 3 as my main device in the upcoming weeks, make sure to like this video and subscribe to On Microsoft to get updates on my final thoughts when I eventually post a review on this device in the future. So this has been me, Cody, from OnMicrosoft.com, and I'll see you again at that point. Goodbye.